Hi everyone, good morning all of you. Myself Dr. Rangalal Mahapatra. I welcome you to my YouTube channel Microeconomics Online Lessons by Rangalal. So first I would like to thank you all of you for watching my videos which I have uploaded, and for your comments, your feedback and your interest in my videos. So this video or this class will be consisting of the central problems of the economy and the concept of production possibility frontier, and the concept like trade-off, like the opportunity cost, and how the central problems of the economy will be solved. That will be my present video. So every Sunday I will upload the new video. So I request all of you to watch, share, like and subscribe my channel so that I will also try to put my best effort to give you qualitative materials in microeconomics. So the present video is about the background of the problems faced by any economy, the central problems of the economy and its nature, approaches to solve the central problems, PPC as a tool of explaining central problems of the economy, concept of trade and opportunity cost, production possibility curve and its mathematical derivation of PPC. So this is the contents of my entire YouTube of today's class. So the next one is, now I will go to the backgrounds of the problem. Now, when we study the central problems of the economy, we must understand why this thing actually coming. So Robbins, the most important economist who actually objected or categorically objected the material welfare definition provided by Marshall. Marshall actually gave the welfare definition that economics is the study of how the material welfare of the society can be improved. But Professor Cannon, who told the entire activities of the society can be divided into two groups, one is economic and other is the non-economic activities. So the society actually directs the activities either towards economic activities or towards non-economic activities. So if more activities will be directed towards economic, then the material welfare will increase, and if non-economic activities will be more, then it will increase more non-material welfare. So hence, the wealth of the society will be more, greater the proportion of the time devoted to material ends and less the proportion which will be devoted to immaterial ends. But Robbins argued that there still remains an economic problem both for the society and for the individual of choosing between the two kinds of activities, that is between economic and non-economic ends. So problem of the what is actually when we make this choice between this non-economic and economic activities, so there are certain problems. The problem is there are the time which we have to divide between these two activities, and this division of the time, it arises because of some following things, like man wants both leisure and income. Every human being wants both leisure and income, but he has not enough either to fully satisfy his wants of each. That means he doesn't have enough resources or enough things to fulfill both the leisure and income. Therefore, he can either spend on increasing income or enhancing the leisure power. Then his wants for different components of income and leisure will be different. Sometimes he wants more income and sometimes he wants more leisure. So his intensity of wants is also different. Therefore, ultimately the choice problem is there, that is how he will economize or how he will utilize his time in between this using the economic activities or non-economic activities. So his entire disposition or allocation of time and his resources has a relationship to his system of wants, hence it has economic aspect. So the next thing is, if we can say the entire problem or the crux of the economic problem is that it provides economists four important characterization for the human being. So the human being, the ends are numerous. That means human ends, that is the ends are many, but the time and the means to achieve these ends, that is the desires or the wants, these are the wants are many, but the time and the resources or the means to satisfy those ends are limited, and they have also competing uses. That means if you put one particular resource in a particular end, then the availability of that resources for other end also will decrease. That's why they are competitive. And next one is the ends have different importances. That means the human being puts all the wants in a ranking. The first, he gives the topmost priority to a particular one, then the second one, then the third one, and the least priority to something. So life is short, and the external world does not provide full opportunity for their complete achievement. So whenever we have a lot of many innumerable wants or ends, we cannot, our life is so short, our external atmosphere is not so much helpful to achieve those things during our lifetime. So the multiplicity of ends or scarcity of means itself has nothing to do with economic problem. So if our ends are many, it does not create any economic problem, or if the means are less, this doesn't create any problem. But the problem is when time and means for achieving these ends are limited and we are capable of being distinguished in order of importance, then the behavior necessarily assume the form of choice. So whenever we have in one hand unlimited wants and resources are limited and our time is also limited, we have to make a choice. Ultimately the human behavior is reduced to a problem, that is the problem of choice. That is, the means are the material means and the ends refer to the proximate to the maximization of satisfaction, maximization of benefit, maximization of welfare, and so many things. So the resource scarcity in every nation possesses the basic issue of choice problem. So since individuals faces this problem and the society consists of individuals, so the entire society also faces the problem of choice, and the choice is how to utilize these resources to so that the best outcome can be achieved. So the choice is to optimize. If we say what is the choice problem, the choice problem is to optimize or to economize. Thus, the problem of the economic agent is to optimize the objective function subject to a constraint. That means we have certain ends and those are the objectives. We have to satisfy those objectives with respect to certain constraint. Constraints means the limitations, the resources are limited or some other things they are limited. So they are the constraint. So the cases where the agents fail to optimize, the normative economic analysis can help improving their choices. It means whenever the individual fails to optimize his choices, it is not that he cannot do anything. There are normative approach to economics which can help him to consider how he can improve his choices in a better manner. However, what the agent optimize varies from agent to agent. That means it is not that every human being, every economic agent optimizes the same thing in same intensity, in the same manner, in the same time, in the same period, in the same location. So there are many things like utility maximization, leisure maximization, welfare maximization, expenditure minimization, cost minimization, sales maximization, so many things, and optimizing the mix of policy goals if it is related to the government as an economic agent. So basically the central problems which the economy faces, which is a problem of choice, this problem of choice can be classified into three things. One is what to produce and in what quantity. So first we will consider what to produce. So since there is a limit or the time sets the limit, the resources at the disposal to satisfy the wants are also not abundant in comparison to the wants. That means the wants are many but the resources at disposal are limited. So owing to this time limit and resource scarcity, every country has to decide, every economic system has to decide what to produce and in what quantity. So this question involves again three important issues. That is, the moment we say what to produce, that means the wants are graded or ranked on the basis of their urgency to be fulfilled. That is, whether we should go for production of more basic necessities, or we should go for more defense goods, or we should produce mix of these basic necessities and the defense goods. So this is depending on the priority or the ranking graded by or given by the or assigned by the society. The second one is the alternative uses to which the resources can be put into can be also ranked. That means what are the alternative uses the resources can be put into, those alternative ways also can be ranked. Which is the most alternative way, which is the next best alternative, which is the third best alternative, like that we can also utilize, or we can make a ranking of the alternatives in which the resources can be utilized. The third one is to make a choice where the most urgent need is to be satisfied, so that the cost of next best alternative want not satisfied will be less, and the cost of next best alternative use of resources will be less. That means there is something which is called a trade-off. So the trade-off is we should choose the best alternative in a such a manner that the cost of the next alternative or next best alternative should be very, very less. If the cost of the next best alternative is very high, then we will not choose the present action. For example, if I spend more on education and the second priority is spending on health, and if the cost of not spending on health is more, then I will not go for spending on education. So this is what the cost of the next alternative, which we will talk about this opportunity cost in the next slide. How to, then the second problem or the central problem, the second one is the how to produce, which is nothing but the choice of technique. Now once the system decides, the economy decides what goods are to be produced, what are their quantities, how much they should be produced, then the economy has to decide whether which type of technique should be utilized, because the choice of technique decides, the decision of the choice of technique will make or ensure that the resources will be optimally utilized, they will be efficiently utilized, and they will also be fully utilized. So there will be no unemployment of the resources, there will be no wastage, there will be no underutilization of the resources. So the choice of technique or choice of the production, how to produce, involves again 3-4 important issues. The first one is the choice of technique will not allow any wastage of resources. So we should use such a technique, whether we will utilize a labor intensive or capital intensive technology or a mixture of both, it should not create much more wastage. If it will come, then we will utilize the resources in an underutilization manner. The second one is it will not allow the pollution of the economy. That means our utilization of the best technique should minimize the damage of ecosystem or degradation of ecosystem. The third one is the choice must not create overutilization of one resource. That means we should not stress on such technology or such methods which will overutilize a particular resources. So if that will happen, then the other resources will shift over to that particular area where you will not find the production of other goods. So this will create imbalances and disequilibrium in the economy as far as the resource utilization is concerned. The next one is the method should be utilized in such a way that the minimum use of input must produce maximum possible output. So this is nothing but the efficiency. That means we should utilize the technique in such a manner that the maximum amount of output should be produced from minimum use of the input. This is nothing but the technical efficiency. Then the technique should be chosen in such a way that it should not violate the production relation that is inherited in the economy. So our technology or the use of technique should not violate the production relation, because if there are some kind of production relation which involves the human relation, if we convert our entire production system into robotic system or entire mechanized, then it will create a lot of problem with the human being the production with the human being will be less, and entire production will be involved with a mechanics. So the third problem is for whom to produce. So whom to produce is nothing but the distribution problem. That is, whatever goods are to be produced or which will be produced with a particular technique, they must be distributed equally among those, or distributed with equity among those who help to produce. That means whenever the goods are produced, the factors of productions like land, labor, capital and enterprise are utilized to produce those goods. So those goods should be also distributed among those on the basis of the share of the inputs in the total production. So it will create, and there are many theories are there. The marginal productivity theory by the neoclassicals are there. The entire output, if it will be distributed on the basis of the marginal product value, then the entire output, the value of the output will adjust. So that is why the input, the factors should be share, or the goods which will be produced must be equally, must be efficiently and equitably shared among those who have to produce. So this question actually centers around how the output of the economy is distributed across different people of the society. Now these three problems, when we have studied, the question is how this problem can be solved. The problem can be solved depends on the type of the system that particular economy is following. If so, it differs from country to country. There are so many things which I will discuss in the last slide at the end of this presentation. Then when we discuss this central problem, the important concept comes, which is called trade-off. So the three basic questions like what to produce, how much to produce and for whom to produce. One concept is the trade-off or the opportunity cost will come. As Milton Friedman, the Nobel Prize economist, he told that there is no such thing which is free lunch. That means whatever we get or whatever we want, we have to sacrifice something and we have to get. That means in order to get something, we have to sacrifice something. So this is nothing but the trade-off, and which economists they name it as the opportunity cost. Because if you see the trade-off, there are thousands of trade-offs that you can calculate or you can estimate or you can imagine of. But if you take the opportunity cost, it only considers two things. One is the best, and another is the next best alternative. So we'll utilize this concept. Then after that we will discuss how this problem will be discussed in the production possibility frontier, and how this production possibility curve will be helpful to explain the central problems of the economy. So now the trade-off is actually optimization, because the choice problem is a optimization problem. It involves trade-off. Some benefits are to be sacrificed in order to gain something else. For example, if you want more leisure period, you have to sacrifice your working hour, you have to sacrifice your income. If you want to spend more money on education, you have to sacrifice your spending on health. Or if you want to go for a particular, if you want to go for movie, then you have to sacrifice your time period for study hour. So this way there are so many trade-offs. So in case of consumer optimization, the budget constraint which we utilize is actually quantify the trade-off. That means if you purchase another bundle, how much a price you will pay. If you purchase this bundle, how much a price you will pay. So the indifference curve, again the isoquant, they are also in one sense they show the trade-off. Now from this trade-off, the economists they conceptualize the term which is known as the opportunity cost. So evaluating trade-offs can be difficult because there are several options. So economists they conceptualize or coin the term opportunity cost. Simply we write OC. So the opportunity cost applies to the resource use. If the first choice of the consumer is to spend more on education, and second priority is on health spending, then the health spending is the opportunity cost of spending on education. So opportunity cost is the cost of opportunity lost. That is, whenever we take a particular decision X, whatever we lost, that is suppose if it is Y, then the cost of losing Y is actually the opportunity cost of taking X. So if we take education, if we do spend more on education, then the opportunity cost of education is the spending on health education. So How do you do this? Now it informs what we do with this. Now it informs every rational decision of any economic agent, whether the economic agent is taking one rational decision or the decision is attaining equilibrium for him or her. That also it will tell. It is based on the comparison of the foregone net. That means how much you have foregone and how much you have achieved. The net is actually the opportunity cost. So that you can calculate by taking the definition, foregone net benefits of the best alternative action, how much we have lost, how much we have sacrificed, minus how much we have net gain benefits of the given action. So the foregone net benefits, if the lost benefit is the loss of the benefit is more, so then it will be positive. So if opportunity cost is positive, that means we will not take the action. And if the opportunity cost is negative or at least zero, then we will go for the action. So an action would be convenient if the opportunity cost were negative or at most equal to zero. And in economics we utilize this in case of equilibrium also. In case of production or producer equilibrium, we use the fundamental criteria of the difference between marginal cost and marginal revenue. So if marginal cost is more, then it will be positive and the opportunity cost will be positive and the producer will not produce. But if marginal revenue will be more, or at least it will be the difference is zero, then the producer will be producing. So the equilibrium condition is the MC minus MR must be equal to zero. So this MC minus MR is nothing but the opportunity cost. So MC in terms of foregone revenue of the best alternative commodity minus gained revenue of the given commodity. So negative opportunity cost means given commodity is profitable to be produced. So whenever the opportunity cost is negative, it means it is profitable for the producer or for the economic agent to take that decision. So now there are certain things like what is opportunity cost, how it is related to money cost, how it is related to market price also, that we must understand, because that creates confusion. The true opportunity cost of say a particular car is not its market price, but the value to their potential purchases of other things. Suppose I purchased a car with a cost of suppose 12 lakhs. So that what is the potential loss or potential purchases that I could have done with that 12 lakhs is my opportunity cost. So if I could have purchased suppose a steel refrigerator with that, or I could have purchased, so that is my cost. So if the opportunity cost of a car is related to its money cost, so money cost means, for example, if steel is used to manufacture both automobiles and refrigerators, suppose steel is utilized for both automobiles and refrigerator, and if the consumers value items that are made with steel, that is the refrigerator, highly, then the economists say that the opportunity cost of making car is higher, because we need steel and we give more value to steel, so steel cost will be more valuable, its money cost is much more higher. So whenever we do not do it, we purchase instead of that some other things, so the cost of sacrifice, because we are sacrificing the things which we prefer most, that's why the sacrificing cost is more. So therefore higher opportunity cost is related to higher money cost, but under certain condition. This condition is if the market functions well. Where, in which economy, if the markets are functioning well, there the opportunity cost, higher opportunity cost means higher money cost. Now we'll come to the next concept, which is known as production possibility curve, because this curve will be utilized to explain the three central problems of the economy. So PPC, production possibility curve, is the tool which is used to explain the problems, central problems of the economy. What is the meaning? It is a graphical representation of the alternative combinations of goods and services an economy can produce. So the PPC is actually a curve. So when we utilize the curve, we are assuming that suppose there are two goods. that the given resource and the given technique that can be used to produce those goods. So there are different alternative feasible combinations of goods and services that the economy can capable of producing with the given resource and given technology. If you draw in a graph, that graph is known as the production possibility curve. So given the endowment or given the resource, given the technology, now if so the production possibility curve will tell you different combinations of the goods and services that the economy can produce. So in this diagram you see we have given a table where we are giving two things. One is number of schools and number of defense goods. So number of schools is x-axis and number of defense goods is y-axis, or we can take it anyway. So whenever, so the combination, one combination is 0 schools, 400 defense goods. That means the economy can produce by utilizing the entire resources for defense goods, or it can go for, if it want to increase the number of schools, then it has to sacrifice the number of defense goods. So when it wants to increase from 0 to 40, then it has to reduce the defense goods number from 400 to 300, and 300 to 200, 200 to 100, and 100 to 0. And it is 0 to 40, 40 to 70, 70 to 90, 90 to 100. So if we plot those things, the opportunity cost will be given in the manner which is drawn in the diagram, and the shape of the curve is actually known as the slope of this production possibility curve, which is actually called the marginal opportunity cost. And the most important economics behind the shape is that it's increasing marginal opportunity cost. That means when we are moving from point A to B, or from the y-axis to x-axis along the curve, then the cost of going for additional production of something will create more and more opportunity cost. So the higher is the opportunity cost, means you have to go for less and less of the production of the goods which you are taking decision. So the opportunity cost, the shape, whenever the marginal cost, opportunity cost is increasing, the shape of the curve will be like this, and it is known as concave shape. So but in the production possibility curve also can be a straight line. It will be straight line only when the opportunity cost is constant. That means the trade-off, the rate at which one output is substituted for the other is actually constant. And this type of situation comes in international trade, where we assume that the labor power is same, the productivity of labor is same, the goods are produced with the same quantity of same type of labor, and the economy of the same resources. Then if you produce a good X, then you have to reduce good Y in the same manner, so it will be a straight line. Now the question is, many times we do not know how really the production possibility curve is mathematically derived. So when we want to derive, we must know that the production function, that is, for that we know what are the inputs. So in this case, I am utilizing one input, and there are two output will be produced, y1 and y2, and the labor is only L1. L is the labor, and for y1 the name is L1, and for y2 it is L2. So y1 is L1 divided by 10, this is the production function, and for y2 it is y2 root over L2. So the total, but now what is the availability of the resource? The resource is L1 plus L2 is 100. Now if we invert these equations, then we will get L1 is equal to 10y and L2 is y2 square. Now utilizing this, we can get the 10y plus y2 square is equal to 100. Now for this also we can write in case of production possibility curve, that is, which is P of y1 comma y2, which is production possibility for curve function. It depends on the equation is 10y1 plus y2 square minus 100 is 0. So when it is 0, this means the entire production is on the line. Whenever we refer to this equation is equal to 0, that means there is no underutilization of resources, and the output can be produced with the resources, and they can be attainable. But if you go beyond that, then it is not attainable. So if I put in the equation y2 is 0, then y1 will be 10, and if y1 is 0, then y2 will be 10. So in this way you can draw the production possibility frontier. And now for the curve, we want to know what is the slope. Slope means it is dy by dy2 by dy1, which is written in absolute form because it will be minus sign, but we want the slope. What is the value of the slope? And the slope is the dy2 by dy1 is called the marginal rate of transformation, and this marginal rate of transformation is actually, you can differentiate with respect to which is equal to dp, that is the production frontier. If you differentiate the production frontier with respect to y1 divided by the differentiation of the production frontier with respect to y2, and we will get the marginal rate of transformation, which is equal to dy2 by dy1 with respect to dy1 absolute value, which is equal to 10 by 2y2. So since the slope is positive, it is thus it means whenever we increase the value of y2, then the marginal rate of transformation increases. Therefore, the production possibility curve is concave to the origin. That means when in the denominator we put more and more value, the marginal rate of substitution goes on diminishing and diminishing. So therefore, it is actually this production possibility frontier is known as the concave form because its slope is increasing. So this is the slope, and the slope is increasing, and y1, you see y1 is 10, y2 is also 10. When y1 is 0, y2 is 10. When y2 is 0, y1 is also 10. So similarly, we can also take if there are two inputs. Two inputs means suppose a labor and capital, and there are two goods. We produce y1, the first output, y2 is the second output, and for y1 we utilize two input x1 and z1, and the production function is y1 is equal to root over x1 and z1, and the second production function is actually y2 is equal to 4x2 divided by 9 plus z2. So this is the second production function. The total resource constant, that is the total amount of x is x1 plus x2, which are utilized to produce good y1 and y2 is 9, and the total amount of z availability is 4, that is z1 plus z2 is 4. And by utilizing the same process, we can find that rate of transformation or the marginal rate of transformation, which is equal to z1 by x1, which will be 4 by 9. And now if we utilize these things, you substitute, then y1 will be 2x1 by 3, and from this equation we get x1 is equal to 9 minus x2 and z1 is 4 minus z2, and substituting this I will get the equation 4 minus z2 is equal to 4 into 9 minus x2 divided by 9, which implies z2 is equal to 4x2 by 9. So substituting this we will also get y2 is equal to 8x2 by 9, and y2 for that we can draw the slope, and the slope is 4 by 3, and we draw the entire production possibility curve with a edge-worth box diagram, because there are two inputs and two outputs, and we call it learner's efficiency curve. The entire curve, which the line, which we call its contract curve also we can call. So the slope of that line is actually 4 by 3, which is constant in every case. So when we study these central problems of the economy, we know that the problems are there, and the problems can be explained with the help of the production possibility frontier, with the help of graph, with the help of algebra. When the number will increase, we can write the production possibility set with the help of set form, or we can write the equation when the number of output and inputs will increase. But the problem is how to solve these problems. So here we see that the problems are there for every economy. Problems are same, but the way to solve or the methods to solve the problem is different, and it is based on the type of system or a particular system that the economy is following. So an economic system is the set of rules that define how an economy's resources are to be owned and how the decisions about their use to be made. Many of the economic system in the world, including the North America, Europe, Asia, Central and South America, all they depend on market economy to answer these questions. But there are specific countries like Cuba, North Korea and the former USSR. Now presently there is no USSR, former USSR, where following the system where there is central planning and the planning decides who owns the resources, how the resources will be utilized and among whom how much of these goods will be distributed. However, many countries, those especially the democratic countries, the capitalist countries, they follow both the market economy as well as the government planning as a mixture to solve the central problems of the economy. And India is one of the example which follows the mixed economic pattern where both the market economy, in some cases there are market economics is utilized to decide the problem, and somewhere the government takes the decision to solve the problem. But on that basis, our constitution also lists so many things which are prescribed for the center, for the state, and it is for both the center and state, and open list also there are something. So it means we are deciding the central problems with the help of both government planning and the central decisions. So my next topic will be because I have completed the entire things of central problems of the economy. What are the tools we utilize? What is production possibility curve? What is trade-off? What is marginal opportunity cost? What is economic system and how the system will solve the problem? And the next video which I will upload in the next Sunday, that will be Marshallian utility analysis, which will be the consumer behavior, and there I will explain what is this Marshallian utility analysis. From there, how the derivation of the law of demand will come, and what is the importance of the law, what we do in this law, and all these things. So many things will come in this thing. So I think I have completed the things which I have told in the beginning, and so again I just summarize in 1 and 2 sentences that in this video I have summarized or I have told about the central problems of the economy and what are the problems, how the problems can be explained with the help of diagram like production possibility curve, and what are the mathematical tools to derive those functions, what is opportunity cost, what is trade-off, how opportunity cost is related to money cost, and how it is different from the market price or market cost. So I thank you. I request all of you to watch, like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel Microeconomics Online Lessons by Rangalal. Thank you everybody. Thank you. All the best to everyone. Thank you.